Hi everyone, welcome to this video on how to display the aggregate values in the Angular tree grid component of Syncfusion. In this video, I will do some arithmetic calculations on a set of column values and display those calculated values in individual summary rows of both parent and child using the built-in aggregate types of Angular tree grid. In addition to this, I will also show you how to format those aggregate value and do calculations using the custom aggregate functions. I am using the sample application used in the Getting Started video, which was configured with all the necessary tree grid modules and data. You can find this Getting Started sample link in the description of this video to start programming quickly. Also, you can watch my Getting Started video that I shared in the YouTube card. Let me remove the sorting and paging related codes since they are out of this sample scope. I am deleting those from the appcomponent.html file and the appmodule.ts file. I have already run the command npm install. Now I will run the sample using the command ngserve. You can see the tree grid with data loaded in it. Now let me show you how to add aggregates in the Angular tree grid. At present, there are 7 built-in aggregate types. They are sum, average, min, max, count, true count, false count. In this sample, I am going to define the aggregate for this duration column. First, I will show the sum aggregation in the duration column. First, in the appmodule.ts file, I import the aggregate service from Syncfusion EG2 Angular tree grid and add it to the providers array. In the HTML, following the e-columns directive, I add the tag e-aggregates. As the aggregates property is of type array collection, I can enclose n number of e-aggregate directives within this e-aggregates directive. Since I am going to show one aggregation, I am defining one e-aggregate directive. Within this e-aggregate directive, I am defining an e-columns directive. You can also add one or more columns. I am adding one column directive for the field name duration with the type sum. I am defining the template, adding footer template since I am going to show the aggregation in the footer of the tree grid. Let data be the variable name. Within this template, I type the text sum, which will be shown along with the aggregate value. Using interpolation, I access the data object's sum aggregation. Now I have defined the sum aggregation for the duration column. I save the changes. Here in the tree grid, you can see for each parent in the tree grid hierarchy, an aggregate row was added. At the bottom of the tree grid, a new aggregation row was added, and a cell displays the total summation of the duration column values for entire tree grid. While you add aggregation, by default, the child summary values are also shown. To avoid this, in the HTML aggregate directive, set the property show child summary to false. I save the file. You can see in the tree grid, only the total aggregation is shown. Now I will show you how to format this aggregated value. In the HTML, within the e-column directive, add an attribute format, assign the value n2, and save the file. Now you can see the aggregation value with the formatted value with 2 decimal places. Now let me add a count aggregation value for the task name column in the same aggregation row. In the HTML, I am copying the e-column directive of the duration column and pasting it within the e-columns directive. I change the field name to task name, type count, and remove the format property. In the footer template, I change the text sum to count and the data aggregate to count. Now I save the file. You can see in the tree grid, the aggregation row has the count value for the task name column and sum value for the duration column. Now I will show you how to set multiple aggregates for the same column. I will show you how to find the maximum value for this duration column using the max aggregate type in the footer template. Let me show you how to do this through code. In the HTML, I need to define another e-aggregate directive within the e-aggregates directive. So I am copying this and pasting it within the e-aggregates directive. I remove the task name column directive for better clarity. Since I need to find the maximum value, I change the type to max. Within the template, I change the text to max, and within the interpolation, I also change the type to max. I save the changes. Now you can see the maximum value of the duration column displayed in a new footer row. Let me move on using my own custom function for aggregation. Here, I am going to find out the total number of testing tasks present in the task name column. In the HTML, within the e-aggregates, I remove the previous code related to e-columns directives for better clarity. Let me add one e-column directive for the field task name and set the type to custom. Then I set the property custom aggregate with my custom aggregate function name custom aggregate function. In the app-component.ts file, I will define the custom aggregate function with a parameter type of object. Within this function, I add code to filter the records with the condition where the task name values should equal testing and return its count. I have defined the function in the HTML. I need to define the ng template now. Let me add the tag ng-template, add the footer template reference, and define variable data. Within this template, I add a display text total testing tasks along with the interpolation and accessing the custom aggregate value. Now I save the file. You can see the count displayed at the bottom of the tree grid in the task name column. So that's about all for built-in and custom aggregate types. If you need more information about aggregation in the tree grid, you can refer to our online documentation link provided in the following description. Finally, let me summarize the main points. I have explained the steps to show aggregated values using the built-in aggregate types in the tree grid footer and how to hide them in the child rows. Also, I showed you how to format the aggregate value, add more columns in the aggregation row, add more aggregations for same column, and calculate the aggregate value with your own aggregate function. You can download this featured sample from the link provided in the below description with the label complete sample. If you found this video useful, click the like button and subscribe to our channel to get notifications for our new videos. Thanks for watching.